Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel, and welcome back to another custom showcase. I think that's what they're called. So today we will be looking at the Ffarquhar 3, so without further ado let's get into it. So the first custom is Thomas, and this is my Railway series Thomas. However, since you've seen him last, it's a lot of modifications. It's the same chassis, but a completely different body shell. The old body shell, if you go over to Starspeed Universe, which is another channel I post on, you'll see the other Thomas is a Stuart Reedpath Thomas in the style of the Reverend Audrey's model of Thomas. So, yeah, if you want to see what happened to that old body shell, go look at that. So, here he is. Obviously, this is a Thomas that is very heavily based on the Edgar Hodges illustrations, as that is my favourite version of Thomas of the Railway series. So, yes, I've made it, well, tried to make it as close to those illustrations as I can. However, I have put a few of my own creative choices into this. For example, the actual 3D handrails on the side, which are made of paper clips. And just in there is a little bit of blue card, or just a bit of card like Sharpie blue to represent the cab door. And it's just stuck back there. So if I do open up Thomas, I can just show you that. So there you go. Another thing I've done to Thomas is completely rebuild the smoke box. Now the funnel has remained entirely the same, I just cut it off the old smoke box on this model. But the original one I've cut off and I rebuilt the smoke box to be more slim on the bottom, as you can see there. It's a little bit more slim than the regular Tomy Thomas. Also I have included a very nice Railway Series Thomas face. But as you can see I've rebuilt it with a bit of an old pen and card. And it's come out very nicely. I've also included 3D lampines made out of paper clips. They are also on the running board there, which is painted a deep grey colour, quite a dark grey colour, although I have had to cut quite a bit away on the front to actually accommodate the fitting of the new smoke box. Another thing I have done is cut away the old wheel arches and construct these ones out of card and glue them in place, as I feel the old ones are a little bit too big, and I prefer these ones as much more, as there is an actual gap. Now if you're wondering how I kept the sticker with a box knife, or a box cutter, or whatever you want to call it, which is one of these, I just took it and I just scored lines just along here and here, and yeah, and I just kept cutting, and I eventually broke through the sticker without peeling this off. It's the same thing back here too with cutting out the cab door. So yeah. Now you've probably noticed by now, but the coal bunker as well has indeed been modified. I have extended it out with card and heavily weathered it. And I much prefer this. I've also added a little bit more coal in the back, as it did have a blank space. That was from an old James model I had. There is a little piece of stacks of card that I've been super glued onto the top. That's representing the cab hatch. It would slide open in real life and there'll be a big hole in the ceiling and you let air in, or whatever they do with that. Another thing I've done is heavily weathered the top of Thomas, as you can see in these corners here and there, to represent the soot that's come out of his funnel. It's just gathered in these small corners. I've also painted up the boiler stripes, and I have included as close to the illustrations as I can, his safety valves. Now his whistle is still there, but it is just behind them because it's glued very close. You can just see it there. So yeah, that's well, moving on to, oh wait, no, I have painted the lamp on the back, and I have spray painted the model with this, which is matte clear varnish. It's by Vallejo, so if you want to buy some of that, go ahead. It's good stuff. I use it for most of my customs nowadays. So yeah. Another thing I've done to the running board is obviously straighten out at the front. Now I did go, I didn't go into that, sorry, I did post about this on Twitter, on my old Twitter account. I lost the password to it though, so I made a new one. Go follow that one. It's same name, but it's fine. Just look it up on Twitter. 6 Small Wheels, same as the channel name. But anyway, I have completely reconstructed the front of the running board with card. So if I do get the old running board, well actually no, not the old running board, another running board, a curved one actually came with this shell, I'll just show you. So here is the old running board. As you can see, this has had modifications. However, I haven't used this in quite a few months. So as you can see, the paint is coming off in some areas, and one of the lampines on the front is broken off. But I did use this, as you can see, because it does have modifications to it. But as you can see, that's dipped, that's not dipped. This one's curved, this one is straight. I've also spoked the wheels, as you can see, by painting up the insides. Unfortunately, when painting, this wheel here did snap, so I did have to super glue it again, and some of the paint did come off. I'll get around to repainting it eventually. Obviously red side rods, as I really like the look of Thomas with the red side rods. And cab steps, which were just made out of card, then painted blue and glued on the underside just there. I've also reconstructed this small area of the end of the running board with card, as it originally did chip away, just like a little bit has here. Don't worry, but that's fine. So, yeah. The buffers were from a Trackmaster 2 Thomas, which I have harvested completely for parts. The front coupling comes from the Trackmaster 2 Annie and Clarabelle I bought a while back, but they were failed. They were good. It was a really cool concept for the customs to make them more accurate. However, they kept falling apart and it just didn't work. So that is why I had to get these Tomy, Annie and Clarabelles that did come with this Thomas when I bought it. But yeah, because this is the original running board that came with this Thomas. Because well, yeah, doesn't really fit with the smoke box though, because I did use this running board with the older one. So yeah, I mean that kind of fits. There we go. I just had to, because it slides forward and backwards a little bit. Yeah, there you go. But when you slide it forward a little bit, yeah, that looks all right, I suppose. But anyways, back to Thomas. So that is pretty much it on Thomas. And although I did not mention the funnel, it is just a piece from an old Hornby model I had that I have glued on the top there. But the funnel was made out of straw, so yeah. Out of a straw, some card, and a little bit of milliput. And so yeah, I do use a bit of milliput on some of these models. I don't use it very often. And obviously the face is indeed very much based on the Edgar Hodges illustrations. I did just look up Railway Series Thomas and Friends Edgar Hodges face on Google, and that came up. So there we go. And I love that face. It is permanently glued on. That is Thomas's face, because I absolutely adore that face. It's so perfectly encapsulating of his look in the Railway Series compared to the old face. Because if you do go back to my other video where I did showcase this Thomas and a cardboard Toby, I do have an actual Toby next to me, because this is the Ffarquhar 3, so this is Thomas, Percy and Toby I'll be showcasing. But that Thomas had a face which was a face drawn by, not Edgar Hodges, because he was the illustrator who drew that face, at least I think he was. Now that one was drawn by Clive Spong, and if one of the comments said it did make Thomas look a little bit old, and yeah, I do agree with that. So this one's much better. And that is Thomas. And I hope you have enjoyed seeing Thomas here. And now we are going to move on to the next custom. So, our next engine is a little green caterpillar with red stripes. And of course, it is Percy. Here is my Percy. And now, I did buy an actual Trackmaster Percy. I did post about Percy on Twitter as Industrial Percy. But this is very much different now. There's been a lot of modifications. Without a doubt, Percy is probably the engine who has had the most cosmetic changes apart from Thomas with the rebuilt smoke box. Because Percy's tank has... I'll just get into it. So, I'll start off with the chassis. So here's the chassis. The battery is just stuck in there. It's stuck down with blue tack. It doesn't really screw on anymore. But, you know. Anyway, so the chassis was pretty much stayed the same. I did cut off this little bit on the back, and I did glue on that little bit right there, if it will focus. Now, unfortunately, when cutting parts off Percy, like the coal bunker, unfortunately there was a big crack here, and it did snap. However, I did glue it back together, and then I weathered it to hell and back to give it a weathered look, as you can see there. And I feel like it looks okay, but, you know, it could be... Oh, oops. It could be better, but you'd have to find a better modeler than me to make that look properly good. So, you know. But moving back to the chassis, these little pieces here... sorry, I have a cold. Sorry for the sniffing. But these little pieces here and here, these wheel arches were just made with card. And these are little boxes here, which represent his sandboxes. Those are actually made with Lego, wrapped in green, wrapped in paper, coloured green. So yeah, and the top is a different shade of green to them, because they're actually printed paper, so making that green colour. So yeah, the buffers were made of thumbtacks, and the front coupling, I don't really like the black, so I might actually go around and paint it red, instead of having this weird black blob. So, you know, it doesn't look like there's a massive hole where a big white coupler is coming out the front of. But there's that. He does have a vacuum pipe, but it just sits in there though. I don't really like it. It flops about too much. I can just take it out there, and I can bend it back into shape if I do need to. So it does just sit up like that. But as you can see, it's just very tucked in there, and it wobbles about, and it doesn't look very good. So I do just keep it hidden up in the empty screw hole. Speaking of the empty screw hole, when modifying Percy, this entire piece on the front running board is card, because it had to cover up a very big hole here where the smoke box used to sit. So, yeah. And that's pretty much all I did to the sashi. Obviously, it has the buffers on the back too. So, yeah, let's move on. Oh, of course, and the red side rods and the spoke wheels. However, Percy's red side rods aren't entirely red like Thomas. They're only red on one certain part, which is to represent the fact on actual Percy's side rods that only be red on one of the rods, not two of them. So, yeah, if you get what that means. So moving on to Percy's body here. Obviously, the tank has been completely rebuilt. Well, kind of. I did cut a lot off it to make it more accurate to the illustrations, again based on Edgar Hodges. So the smoke box, the funnel is actually, the top is from a Hogwarts Express model. And if I do go get my 12th Doctor sonic screwdriver, the rest of the funnel is actually made up of these little clear sections here on the 12th Doctor sonic screwdriver. On an older model I had that broke. So yeah, it's actually made up of these bits here. So that is what the rest of the funnel is made from, and the top is from a Hogwarts Express pullback toy I got from Harry Potter Studios. Parts of the smoke box have been rebuilt with card. As you can see, basically the entirety of the bottom has. There we go. Oh, focus please, camera. Let's give it a moment to focus. Hang on. There we go. So as you can see, there are certain parts that have been built up with card to make the smoke box look a lot nicer. He does have a 3D face, but I do prefer the 2D one, as the 3D one juts out quite a lot and is just a bit too forward. And of course it is his TV series face. All my models, apart from... Well, Thomas does have his TV series face. It's his face from Season 3. That can just be blue tacked on the front over the Railway series face. If I do want to give him a TV series face, I can do that. But yeah, Percy has his TV series face. And, well, just a little taste of what's coming next. So does Toby, he's got his TV series face too. So, yeah, of course I have actual 3D handrails. I'm thinking about giving him cab handrails, and speaking of the cab, as you can see, a large portion of it has been very modified. I just sat down on the sofa watching telly one night with a sanding tool, and I just sanded away and cut away at all that and made this big hole to make it more accurate to the illustrations. And then I filled it in with card and painted it black. And the coal bunker is really where things changed quite a bit, as I originally didn't have Percy, because this is quite a recent mod, the windows, and Percy originally just looked like this, but with this massive coal bunker, and it just proportionally looked wrong, and I didn't like it at all, so I have completely cut the old one off. Oh, I did keep that little lip thing just right there, that little bit that points out, or the slopey bit there. And I cut it out, and the back was made with card, and then just cut out cab portholes were put on them from that's paper. The whistle there, that's made out of a bit of Lego, and of course quite a bit of weathering. You can see the little spot there where the old whistle was, which was literally a Lego golden stud. So I might have to do a little bit of work to get rid of that entirely, but you know, it looks alright for now. I did cut off the builder's plates on the side. I didn't like them. The yellow paint was going weird and a bit mouldy for some reason. So yeah, there are just these black dots. I will replace them one day. I did do the same with Thomas, and it did leave these small black markings. Although I like to think that's a dog print, because that does look like a paw print from a dog. So, you know, either that or just weathering, or just dirt, you know, because he's a tank engine, he's a train, he's been working. So he'll be a little bit dirty in some areas, because there is weathering on Thomas. You can see that. So, you know. But there isn't nearly as much weathering as there is on Percy. As you can see around the tanks, he is quite a dirty Percy. Although he probably doesn't want me to say that, because he doesn't like being called Dirty Percy. The front up here was also rebuilt with card. In fact, quite a lot on the inside was just completely rebuilt with card. And, yeah, I think that's basically it for Percy. The coal is, it's not the original coal, because that was lost. That's coal from a... Oh, I'm not sure what it's from. I think it was just from one of those knockoff toy trains that you can get at the National Railway Museum. I think it was from one of those. The little triangle things at the front are made from card. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Percy. So yeah, that is Percy, and I hope you've been all enjoyed seeing my lovely custom Percy. And well, the next one is obviously Toby, who I'm very proud of actually of how Toby has turned out. But yeah, that was Percy, and I hope you all enjoyed seeing him. So, the next engine we have is a little tram engine, who lived at the north of the island quite some years ago, and of course, Toby is his name. Here is my Railway Series Toby, an engine I am very, very, very proud of. So, of course, first we will take a look at Toby. I'm going to keep saying Percy, I'm so used to that, sorry. First, we're going to take a look at Toby's chassis. So Toby's chassis, quite a lot has been changed. If I do just take out this massive battery, I have basically completely redone the cow catchers by reconstructing them with card, basically. They're a little bit wobbly along the bottom, as you can see. It's not perfectly straight, as my cutting with the box cutter knife isn't the best, but I did try. Now, it is actually blue paper. This isn't painted blue. It's blue paper laid over the top. Then the cab step things here, they have been drawn on with a gel pen. And I weathered it quite heavily on the cow catchers because, you know, I feel like it's just the right amount of weathering between I can still pull passenger trains, but I do dirty work like Percy does. So, you know, because he works in the quarry. The front one is just painted black, as I just like the look, and I feel like it does look exactly like it does in the books. There is a vacuum pipe, which is just glued in there. There is also a vacuum pipe on the back, and just a little piece of red paper was just, or paper sharpied red, was just glued on the back, so as to represent there is an actual entire running board on Toby's back, just like that, to give that effect. And that's pretty much all I did to his chassis, because it didn't really do much. So, yeah, let's move on to the body. So, moving on to the body of Toby, quite a lot has changed. So we'll start off with the very small details. When I first bought this Toby, and it arrived from eBay, it did not have a number 7. The sticker came off, and I later found it was stuck up inside in one of the corners there. That's a lot of super glue white marking. I don't know what this is. If somebody in the comments can tell me why plastic has this weird effect where it goes a little bit white when super glue is applied to it. I don't know what it is, but if I just do that, it rubs off. But it's very strange and peculiar. But anyway, moving back to the number 7s. So they were just cut out from Google Images and just Pritt sticked and glued on the side. Those are indeed little builder's plates on the side there with sharpied gold bits of card. And then with the same gel pen to draw the little cab steps there. They were just drawn on this little logo there. The funnel is made out of Lego. And I did paint a weather/paint/failed attempt to paint the details on the top. I do need to go back and fix that at some point. So obviously something else you may have noticed is Toby has actual 3D golden handrails. And they are gold, although they do look a little bit silver on camera, but they are indeed gold. And just very small hand-drilled holes were put on the side and they were just glued in place. And they are on all 4 sides of Toby. Obviously there's a 2D face, as the original was just heavily sanded down to give way for this much nicer 2D face. The buffers are 3D buffers, and they come from a troublesome truck, of which they have been heavily sanded to make them a lot more, well, I don't really know what the word is. Skinny, I suppose? As you can see, yeah, they are a lot more skinny. If this will focus, as it never does, because this is a terrible fat camera to focus with. There we go. As you can see, yeah, they're a lot more skinny in the buffer beam parts. Or the buffer stock, or whatever they're called. So, yeah. And I think that's it for Toby. Really, I haven't done much to him, and yet there's such a big difference when you extend down those cow catchers, give him actual buffers, and just do him up and make him look really nice. There's a big difference. So, yeah, that has been this showcase of number 7, number 6, and number 1, the Ffarquhar 3. Now, I really do hope you have enjoyed this video. Unfortunately, I can't really do the train spotting videos anymore, because this is just a very small set I've got here. That doesn't go to anywhere. It just loops back round, and it comes here, because this is a little, I suppose you can call it a layout thing, you know, that there's not even any points there. So, but anyway, this has been the showcase of the Ffarquhar 3. So I really do hope you have enjoyed seeing these customs. I had a lot of fun making them. Obviously it's Thomas and Percy and Toby, the Ffarquhar 3. Some of my favourite characters, actually. Thomas is definitely one of my favourites, because Thomas and Henry are my favourites, but I do absolutely love Percy and Toby. So if you have enjoyed this, Remember to leave a like, I guess. Subscribe, comment, share. Do people say that? I don't know. This has been a video by me, Six Small Wheels, and I hope you have enjoyed. Bye, I guess. Goodbye for now, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed.